Hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Dimes, a college basketball podcast. I'm Matthew Brune, and joining me once again is Jamie Shaw. Jamie, how you doing today? You ready to talk some ACC basketball?
Always ready to talk basketball, man. We got these exhibition games that are happening. It's just a beautiful time of year. You know, it's turning into cooler weather. Hoodie season's upon us.
Hey, it's actually 65 degrees at the time of recording this in Baton Rouge, so I might be
Hey, man.
joining you here soon.
Well, welcome to the party,
We're
man.
getting there.
That's like 65 to you is like 30 to everybody else. So
I was gonna say, it's actually too cold.
bring
Let's
out your
keep it
winter
around.
coats, baby.
Yeah, let's keep it around 70. All right, Baton Rouge, let's calm down. But ACC preview today, we'll go through our top four teams. We'll give you a sleeper, give you freshman of the year, coach of the year, and player of the year predictions. Jamie, let's start it off with our top four. We talked a little bit before the pod to see, how the order would go. We both have the same 1 and 2 here, but it's not the same as the media 1 and 2 in when ACC Media Day happened 2 days ago. We had Louisville 1, Duke 2, and then we did switch 3 and 4, I believe, as well. So we'll go through 1 and 2 first. Louisville 1. This was something that I wrestled a lot, and we'll talk about when we talk about Duke why I had to wrestle it so much. But I just think so highly of this Louisville team. So I'll let you go first. I would say what excites you, but I mean, on paper, everything seems exciting about this Louisville team, right?
For sure. For me, it wasn't really a wrestle. I feel like with this Louisville team, is the top end of Duke possibly higher? It might be. If Duke gets its top end outcomes, it could possibly be. But I just have less questions with this Louisville team right now.
Yeah.
They have depth. They have especially depth in the backcourt. They have length, which leads to some defensive versatility, but they also have shooting to space the floor. The only real question I have is this game's going to be really this team's going to be really centered around Michael Brown. Michael Brown is extremely talented. NBA draft boards. Some people talk about as top 5 lottery guy, all that. He's a freshman.
Yeah.
There's always a learning curve for freshmen, no matter how talented they are. We saw the beginning of the season last year, even with Con Knibble, Cooper Flag, guys like that. So centering this team around a freshman with Michael Brown, but the thing is they're not going to need Michael to be like superior because they have so much depth around him. Adrian Woolley coming over, the sophomore now from Kennesaw State, who can play on ball, off ball. They have Ryan Conwell, who can have some off ball or who can have some on ball type stuff, who can shoot it. Isaac McNeely, the veteran. Kobe Rogers is coming back. So they have a whole bunch of talent in the backcourt there. Really like what Ryan Conwell is going to bring to this team. 16.5 last year at Xavier on 41.3% shooting. Made some decisions with ball in hand. Kind of in a combo type of role, floor spacer, almost a pure 2 there. Then you have Isaac McNeely, who scored almost 1,100 career points with a career 42.2% three-point shooting percentage. So Michael Brown, who's being talked about as a lottery pick, he's got the talent, he's got the shooting, and he had a huge summer this year, USA basketball, and he's continued to go to all the camps and everything and show out very well. So the freshman curve with him will probably be pretty shallow, and he's somebody that they've really built the program around, built the team around this year with what they have. On the front court, Sananda Frew, he's a man. He does grown man type stuff on the block, and then they get Keyshawn Pryor back, who 2 years ago at USF had a breakout type of year, showing some versatility as well as some defensive acumen. Javon Hadley's another big piece that they're going to have. So when it comes to this team, I really like the depth. I really like how deep they're going to be able to go. Pat Kelsey likes to really get into his bench and do all that. They have shooting and they have talent, and they have confidence in the backcourt. They have switchability on the wings. They have guys up front who can make a play with the ball in their hand as well as defend and all that. And they have a potential, all ACC caliber guy, freshman of the year type, and Michael Brown handling the ball. I just don't really have, like you said in the intro, I don't really have many questions with this Louisville team. On paper, they look really, really good, deep, with a lot of versatility.
Yeah. The best part is you look at their 3 transfer additions, you look at Javon Hadley, and it's literally 38% from 3, 41% from 3, 42, 42, and that's all surrounding Michael Brown. And like you said, for Brown to step up, I mean, he should have been I mean, my opinion, the MVP
I think
of
most people's opinion.
yeah, should have been the MVP over the summer. Just an incredible run that he had, and you look at what he can do now shooting the ball because we know how athletic he is and everything he can do on the court. If he shoots the ball the way he shot the ball over the summer, like this is just a really tough team to stop. This could be, I mean, this is going to be a top 5, top 10 offense in the country. I feel pretty confident saying that. My last thing, I guess, to flip it back to you real quick before we move on, is there any question defensively for you? Is there anything that concerns you on that end, or is it just like, no, they're going to be top 10 in both offense, defense this year?
Well, I like the length and versatility. I think with the physicality that Frew brings, and I think the switchability that Keyshawn Pryor has. So I think up front they're going to be fine. The backups with Javon Hadley, he can guard 2 through 4 with length and versatility. And you have Kobe Rogers who can guard any spot on the perimeter as well. So I think they have the pieces in order to be a very good defense. You know, getting the shooters and stuff, the Conwells, McNeelys, Browns. All of those guys on the defensive end, they'll be able to give effort, but also when they're out on the floor, you have the guys in the back with Keyshawn Pryor and Frew coming in. So it's he'll scheme it up, So I think this team has pieces to be a good enough defensive team that their offense is really going to be able to get out there with it.
Yeah, they're going to be really exciting. All right, let's move on to the number 2 team we have here, which is Duke. You said you didn't wrestle with it as much as I did. The holdup is, and I understand the freshman part of this in terms of how much they're going to have to rely on freshmen. We've talked about Isaiah Evans on this podcast. We've talked about a lot of different players on this podcast. Obviously, Caleb Foster returns. Patrick Ngongba returns. To me, the difference is, and the reason why this is close, the reason why Duke has a high enough ceiling here is because of Cameron Boozer. I'm not sure how much higher I can be on a prospect in terms of if he reaches his potential this year. Like, obviously everyone's talked about this draft, being a 3 or 4 player draft, like in terms of the very, very top end, just the versatility that he has at that size in the front court, I think will make life a lot easier on Duke and these other freshmen because I honestly think he's just ready to go right now. I think he's ready to play, and I think the Cameron Boozer aspect of it, when we get to January, February, March in conference play, I just think he is kind of the equalizer. He's the one that steadies everybody. It's a young team, sure, but Cameron Boozer, I think, is ready, and I'm just very, very bullish on Cameron Boozer and what he can be this year. Again, the rest of the team, all very, very talented. I'll let you talk about the players that you like here, but I think Boozer was the one holdup for me. When I picked Louisville 1, I'm like, Boozer could be the best player in the conference this year, and that could change things like we've seen. I mean, we saw Cooper Flagg last year just dominate games at times. Boozer is going to be very interesting to see how he develops and if he's ready to carry this team right away.
Yeah, so I think you hit the nail on the head with why there's not going to be much of a fall off from Duke. I mean, Final Four team this past year, 3 lottery picks, et cetera, et cetera. Cam Boozer, probably the most accomplished high school player in the modern recruiting era, if not maybe in the conversation ever, when it comes to accomplishments. 3 gold medals, FIBA-wise, 4 state championships, 3 Peach Jam championships, National High School Player of the Year. Not only has he won those awards, he's been the MVP of the majority of those events that he's entered to. In high school, he was a walking 20 and 10. You can just chalk him up from 20 and 10 and go from there. In college, it might not be 20 and 10, but he'll be efficient. He'll be able to score points. He's got a great understanding of leverage, angles, how to find his space, carve it out in a no frills, bring your lunch pail type of way. Cameron Boozer, he's won his entire life, produced his entire life, college-ready frame, IQ, etc. The reason as to why with this Duke team I didn't really struggle back and forth with it is because while their top end talent is high, they still have a lot of questions. There's a lot of unknown with this team that until we see them play, until we see them out there on the court, and they're bringing all smoke possible with their schedule. But Will Caleb Foster give us that step? Will Patton Gongba give us that step? Will Dame Sarr, Nick Kamenia come in ready to play? Ready to immediately. Will Isaiah Evans give us that step? I think there's a lot of questions within that team. Could they? Absolutely. But what you see, I think the great X factor for the team is going to be Caleb Foster. I think if Caleb Foster is good, if Caleb Foster comes in as the top 30 prospect that he was coming out of high school with all the accolades he had, and he's able to play those type of minutes in the ACC, and obviously Duke brought him back. Duke's handing him the ball. Duke thinks that he can. If he's able to do that, I think this Duke team ceiling is very high. Yeah. And I think Caleb Foster's going to kind of be the X factor as to what it is. Isaiah Evans, high-level microwave scorer. He's somebody who could come in, get hot, ring off 20 points in a 4-minute stretch. What does the two-way ability of him look like? What does he bring on the boards, on the defensive end, et cetera? Nick Kamenia, Dame Sarr, both of them, high upside. NBA scouts are going to be looking at them off the jump. What does the freshman year ramp-up period look like for them? Patton Gongba struggled through injuries the last couple of years, even dating back to his senior year of high school, going back into this past year leading up to now. Can he stay healthy for a full season? He's able to stretch the floor, bring that. Malik Brown also playing that 4-5 role, backing up in Gongba. Unbelievable defensive player. Also has struggled through injuries as well. Yeah. With this Duke team, the ceiling is as high as any team in the country. If they reach the top end of it, another Final Four, all that type of stuff. But they have a lot of questions coming into the season as to guys, a lot of factors coming in of guys having to take steps in order for them to hit that top end ceiling. It'll be interesting to see. Obviously, John Shire has accomplished a ton. One of the higher thought of coaches in the country. What will this early season look like? Can they reach toward that ceiling?
Yeah. You mentioned, but Evans last year 14 minutes per game, Foster 14 minutes per game last year, and Gongba 10.5 minutes per game. So they all will probably double that, close to, in terms of how much they're going to be on the court and how much they're going to be asked to produce this year. Obviously, if Caden Boozer also, who I think I expect start off the bench probably behind Foster. I think he will be a part of this as well. So it's going to be interesting because I think, like you said, this team has the top end talent. I think Boozer is he's the difference here. If you swapped Boozer out with, let's say, a normal 5-star prospect in terms of like a number 8 or number 10 player overall, I would be a lot less high on this team. But I do think, to me, that's what made it kind of a difficult choice, which is why I see people buying into him. But it will be interesting to see. That's our unanimous number 2 team in the ACC rankings. 3, you have North Carolina, correct?
Yes.
I have North Carolina at 4. So let's talk North Carolina here, and I'll throw it to you since you have them a bit higher than me. We've talked to North Carolina on this pod a couple times before. We've talked about some players. We talked about kind of the general vibe around the team this year. It's Seth Trimble and whatnot. And I think we talked about Caleb Wilson as well. But just what are your thoughts on North Carolina here and how they get to this point where they're back?
I think that this North Carolina team on paper has just depth. They have shooting. They have size. They have length. They have experience. I really like how they put this roster together in the offseason. The question is going to be at the point of attack with Kyan Evans coming in. I think Kyan Evans is a very, very skilled offensive player. I think ball in hand, especially playing in the pick and roll. He plays at a great pace. He also shot 44% from 3 this past year, too. So he pulls the gravity with him as well. Ball in hand, gets downhill, makes great reads, good pace off the pick and roll. Like him with the ball. Henry Vassar is another player coming in from Arizona. Only played 20 or so minutes a game last year, but in those 20 minutes, 9.5 and 5. You're going to see him with the ball in his hand a lot. He's going to see him almost being an offensive hub for this team. A lot of high-low stuff. He's able to make decisions and process with the ball in his hand. He can also knock down threes. Legit size at 7 foot tall as well. I think Henry Vassar is going to be somebody that you see have a big impact on the ACC this season. Caleb Wilson coming in, top 5 or 10 recruit, The versatility he brings is off the charts. At 6'10", he's able to guard all over the court. He can put the ball in his hand. He can make a read. He can get downhill off the bounce, create offense, create opportunities as well. The beautiful thing about him is the depth of this team. They're not going to need him to be the man immediately. So his ramp up period, he can come along at his own pace. When he's ready to be the man, he can go out there and do his thing. But they're not going to need him to be early season with the depth that they have around him as well. But his versatility that he brings, especially on the defensive end of the floor, but what they can do with him offensively, also from the elbows, from the mid post, creating advantages, is pretty unique. With that, you come in with the depth of players that they have. You have Seth Trimble, as you mentioned, coming back. He's a guy that's going to be a perimeter force on the defensive end. He's also going to be a leader. He's the only player who has starting experience at UNC. Coming back, leadership in the locker room, as they like to say. He's going to bring that, but he's also going to be the team's best perimeter defender. So he's going to lock up. He's going to have that assignment every single night. Coming in again, you have depth from Jonathan Powell, who started some games last year at West Virginia. Jaden Young, who started some games in his college career as well in the backcourt. And then Jaron Stevenson coming in, who's got a chance to be a big X factor for this team. What you bring in Stevenson is versatility off the bench. He can play the 3, 4, or 5, probably mostly the 4, 5 areas. But if you want to really get long and stretch it out defensively, he can move and slide and do all that type of stuff as well. So the versatility he brings off the bench is an X factor. Awesome. Derek Dixon, early returns out of him, the freshman point guard, have been very high. Really good shooter, big physical frame, 6'4", strong body. Then you have James Brown, Zayden High coming in as well. Luka Bogovic comes in to the United States with a high reputation, playing a lot of the pick and roll ball in hand. We'll see what his ramp up period again looks like coming over from playing in Europe. Getting acclimated, I guess, to the athleticism, getting acclimated to the speed of the game. But again, like Caleb Wilson, they're not going to need Luka to be great immediately. He's able to come along at his own pace without a ton of pressure on him because of the depth of the team. So I like this UNC team a lot. I think they have a lot of depth. I think they have depth at the guards, depth at the wings, depth at the center. I think they have the depth to be able to give you different looks. And I think they have the star talent with the Henry Vassar and Caleb Wilson at the top end. So I really like the construction of this UNC team. I really like how they put it together, in the offseason.
Yeah, I do like the versatility that you hit on here between Stevenson, Wilson, and just kind of what they can throw different lineups at you. Feels like I love the addition of Evans at point guard because in years past, it hasn't felt, at least at times, that you've had a real floor general on the court, and I think Evans gives you that. So have him. You have a true center in Vassar, like you said, who should be taking a significant step forward. And I think this is the team I think Davis wants, and I think this is what he's wanted here at North Carolina. So now he just has to coach them up, and he's got to get them to where they are a bona fide top 25 team, where they're not on the bubble. Like, you have to be able to take that step forward as a program here to get back to what North Carolina wants to be this year. So I'm excited to see them. But they went by number 4 team, and at number 3 I had NC State, and I know it's, I guess, trendy to some, but I just really believe in what Will Wade has here, and I understand it's not, it's not a title contending team. I don't think it's a Final Four contending team. Unless things break right, but I just think this is a really solid team, and having seen Will Wade's squads up in person before and having, knowing him and just what he wants to do, I love the athleticism that they have here. And I think when you have Lubin and you have Arsenault, and who at Arsenal from Houston, who's struggled to stay healthy, I really hope he can stay healthy this year, because when he's on the court, and what we saw at Houston is he can defend, he can play 4 for you, he can play 3, and he can shoot the ball. And I think Terrence Arsenault is honestly my X factor of this team. If he stays healthy, I think he does a lot for what this team can do. So then you get to Darian Williams, who, was voted the ACC Player of the Year by the media. I think that's obviously very, very high in terms of expectations, but he could be a guy that comes out and scores 17 plus points per game this year. We saw what he did with the ball in his hand at Texas Tech in terms of creation and just the way that the offense plays through him, I think that's something Will Wade needs. He usually needs a guy to kind of take over at times. I think that's what Williams gives him. So I really like this team. Trey Holloman, obviously coming over from Michigan State. They added Matt Abel, the number 19 freshman in the country, at guard. I know Will Wade is going to defend, and I know Will Wade is going to play fast, and I know what I'm going to get from a Will Wade team. I just think there is a world where I have Will Wade as a better coach, as a better coach than Hubert Davis, and so I give NC State that edge in terms of what I expect from them this year. They're going to be my number 3 team, and I wouldn't be surprised at all if they finished the year in the top 25.
So, Darion Williams, I guess he's somebody whose stats not sexy necessarily all the time. He's not going to give you the huge scoring outputs and all that. However, what he does is he's a hub of an offense that can raise the floor of a team.
Yeah,
things run smoothly when the ball's in Darion Williams' hands that they have throughout his college career, which is why he was a first-team All-League this past year, which is why he had all the success he had at Texas Tech. Things just run smoothly. Around Darion Williams, what you have is a whole bunch of length and versatility. This team's going to be incredibly long. I think that's something they sought out here in the offseason. They're going to be able to play a very aggressive style of defense, be able to line with you, be able to pressure you and hound you throughout the course of a game. You also bring in a guy, the Trey Holloman, that Michigan State team this past year made it to an Elite Eight. You have Darion Williams made the run in the tournament with Texas Tech. Terrence Arsenault with Houston made the run to the final game this past year. Van Allen Lubin's coming from a UNC team that made the tournament. Quadir Copeland's coming from a McNeese State team that made the tournament. So I think that you have guys that have been around success at the collegiate level. You have a lot of experience, a lot of length. Quadir Copeland, for me, is the X factor. I think he's somebody that can give this team a ton of different looks when it comes to possibly even being a secondary type of initiator on the court, having the ball in hand, being able to make decisions. He's able to guard 1 through 4 with his length and his ability to switch. He's somebody who can play, off ball as well. I just think there's a lot there with Quadir Copeland. This is his last year coming in as a top 100 recruit to Syracuse, going back to McNeese, finding success there, staying with Will Wade, coming to NC State. I think he's got ACC experience, obviously being at Syracuse. I think this could be a nice year for him as well. I agree with you with Terrence Arsenault. Van Allen Lubin's going to be a very interesting one. Less than 20 minutes per game this past year. He was incredibly efficient when it came to some of his offensive output. Looking kind of through the analytics after the season, with what he was able to give. Can they hold up at the 5? What does the depth look like there at the 5? Can they get enough out of the 1? Matthew Abel's going to have that freshman step that he's going to need to take, and he's going to need to ramp up pretty quickly because he's probably going to have some minutes at the 1 and the 2 this year. And you have Paul McNeil, who's had a huge offseason when it comes to shooting. 6'6" guy, top 75 recruit coming in, had a huge season, offseason shooting the basketball. The pieces are all here. Obviously, Will Wade's had success at the highest levels of basketball, in college basketball. And there's a lot of talent and intrigue here. I like this roster as well. Top 4 team for me.
Yeah. All right, let's move outside the top group here and pick our sleeper teams for this season. There's 18 teams in the ACC, so you have a lot of options. But I'm not going to go that far down. My team's going to be Notre Dame. I think what Micah Shrewsbury has here is a very interesting team that I predict when I went through my rankings. I had them a little bit higher than the media does. I have them at number 8 in my rankings, in my poll, whatever you want to call it. Obviously, you get Marcus Burton back, 21 points per game. I mean, an awesome scorer, a guy who I think immediately raises the floor of this team to where at the very worst, you're going to get an offense that can play through him, can score. But the pieces around him that they have, obviously Braden Shrewsbury back as well, another high-level shooter and scorer. So you're right there between those two, you return 35 points per game. So the offense is not the concern for me. The concern is defensively last year, you ranked 121st in KenPom. So where do you take that step forward? I think it starts with getting more athletic and getting just better on the perimeter. And Jalen Harrelson, the number 31 freshman in the country, I think on both ends of the court could be a guy that helps this team quite a bit. So that's the first one. And then I really like Carson. Forgive me if you know how to say his name and I don't. Carson Tote. We'll go with Tote. From Northern Arizona, 13.5 points per game, a graduate senior at the 4 spot for them. When you look at just the core that they have, I think there's enough here to get into that top 8 of the ACC to get an advantageous spot when you get to the ACC tournament. Try to make a run there, try to make an NCAA tournament. I'm not sure I'm all the way there with them being an NCAA tournament team. They're my sleeper pick. I think more so in terms of teams that could surprise us, because I think once you get after the top 7 or so, I think it kind of opens up a bit personally. Because you get to the Miamis and the Syracuses and stuff. I think Notre Dame has a chance to be at the top of that next tier, which would put them number 8 in my rankings. So give me Micah Shrewsbury and Notre Dame to, I'll say they get to 500 in conference play. Give me 10-10 Notre Dame.
2 other players to watch for on that Notre Dame team. Sir Muhammad, I think there's a step in line for him. And the interesting stuff you can do offensively with Sir Muhammad and Jalen Harrelson beside each other. Both guys are very good passers.
Mm-hmm.
So interesting stuff you could do with Sir and Jalen. I think Sir is going to be ready to take a step. He had a nice little end to the year last year. Confidence over the summer coming in. His dad was a former NBA All-Star with Nazir Muhammad. And then Ryder Frost, absolute burner coming in. 6'6" guy from the Northeast. Absolute burner coming in. Obviously, with freshmen, there's an unknown there, jumping from high school to college. But when he gets his sea legs together, expect some solid outputs coming from him as well. So those are 2 guys to kind of watch that could take that Notre Dame team, raise them a level as well from the people that you talked about also. For me, Virginia is my team. Obviously, I know that's not really like that hot of a take, but I think they're the team that could pop into the top 4. I had a lot of questions with them, in that I think that they are in that realm with UNC, NC State, Virginia. I think they're all 3 kind of in the same tier of team together. So they would have been my 5th. So obviously, not really a sleeper team per se, but I think that they could be a team that ends the season top 25 type as well. You have Dallin Hall coming in, 61 career starts, 2.4 to 1 assist to turnover ratio for his career. Just a consummate point guard, gets the ball in the spots. You can trust him. Coach on the floor, gritty, first in, last out type of guy that you bring coming over from BYU. You have Jakari White, another guy who's had a long career. He's experienced 17 points per game last year, 39% from 3. And he's also a former all-league defensive player as well. A lot of stuff coming there for the 6'3" long arm Jakari White. At the 2 position, Malik Thomas coming in from San Francisco, 19.9 a game this past year. Started off at USC, kind of refound himself at San Francisco. Now he's playing all level high, coming over to Virginia to kind of wind down his career as well. So you have that backcourt. You have the scoring juice. You have the defense. You have the experience. You have the ball movement. There's a lot to like there, what they have on that. And then when you look to the front court, Johan Grula, and then what's his name, Tice DeRitter as well at the 4-5 coming in. Both Euro guys. Grula, he's shoot, 6'11", good length, shoot the ball, pass the ball, skilled guy at the 5 position. You back him up with Ugana Onyensu, rim protection. Coming out of high school is one of the better rim protectors in high school, could dominate a game from his defensive perspective. Hasn't quite gotten put it all together yet on the college level, knee injuries and all that type of stuff to have. He's looking for a really good bounce back year coming here at Virginia. Then you have Tice DeRitter, a guy coming in, 22 years old, played at the top Spanish level, junior, 6'8", can dribble, shoot, and pass. Just a solid overall player there. As well, Sam Lewis is another guy coming in from Toledo, 40+% 3-point shooter at 6'6". You have, what's his name, Devin Tillis.
Yeah, Devin Tillis.
UC Irvine.
Yeah.
13-7, providing some minutes there in the front court as well. They have depth on this team. They have shooting on this team. They have positional size on this team. You have guys that can play inverted and 5-out type systems. You have rim protection coming off the bench with Ugana and Yensu. You have legit size. And you have 5 guys on the floor who can dribble, shoot, and pass. You have 5 guys on the floor who can have the ball in hand, create advantages. You have guys coming off the bench who can pull spacing, pull gravity on the floor. I just kind of really like the makeup. I think that UVA is one of the big winners in the transfer portal coming into this season. And I'm very interested to see what they look like when they put them on when Ryan Odom gets them on the floor. New coach, first year coach with Ryan Odom as well. Eager to see what it looks like when he puts them on the floor, when he gets them out there, and as they kind of go through the ACC period, what their ceiling looks like.
Yeah, this should be a quick turnaround for Ryan Odom. And not to say he took over like a horrible program or anything, but this should be a pretty quick turnaround with the talent that he's brought in. I'm really excited to see that team. All right, let's move on to freshman of the year predictions. You told me before you started that you basically couldn't sleep last night thinking about who you were going to pick for this freshman of the year discussion. So I'll make it easy on myself here. I already talked about Cam Boozer. I know this is the best freshman conference in the country. I think that's probably a safe take at this point in terms of how much freshmen in this conference are going to be asked to do. And then also just, the amount of like top 50 dudes in this conference that are freshmen. And I told you about it, but we talked about it beforehand. But like even the teams that are not going to be like may not be tournament teams, but they went out and got, like I just said, Jalen Harrelson, Notre Dame, right? Like Kyan Anthony and Sadiq White for Syracuse. We talk about all these guys. Jane Toombs for SMU, I like quite a bit. So anyways, there's a lot of freshmen to choose from. So I'll let you kind of talk us through, not on every single freshman. I got to cut you off at some point there. But Cam Boozer is my pick. I talked about why I think he's just an incredible player. I think he's going to be the best player. I think he could be the league MVP. He's not was he my pick? Hold on, let me make sure. Oh, no, he was my pick for player of the year. I think he's just going to be awesome. So give me Cam Boozer here, but you can wax poetic about the other 10 top 50 players here.
Yeah, for sure. No, I'm not going to go on about 10. I already talked a little bit about Caleb Wilson previously. We already talked about Jalen Harrelson previously. Cam Boozer's your pick, and I think he's probably he's going to make the run for it as well. 2 guys also that I think within the league that could very well be dark horses in this race. Shelton Henderson at Miami. I think he's going to have a lot of opportunity there. I think Jay Lucas is going to have the ball in his hand. I think Shelton Henderson is going to be able to make some plays and put up some numbers. Another one, Nicholas Abdallas at Virginia Tech. There's a ton of eyes that are going to be on him. Yep. I think with him,
draft
ball
combine.
in hand, 6'8" ball in hand guy who can create advantages off the bounce. There's a lot to like there, and I think that he's somebody who could also pop up on some NBA draft boards as the season goes along at Virginia Tech. So those 2 guys, I think, are guys that could be dark horse, like make a run at it. Shelton Henderson, Nico Abdallas. I'm going to go with Michael Brown. I think that he's going to have a central part, 30-plus minutes per game with this Louisville team. I think Louisville is going to be my number 1 team. In the ACC, I think Michael Brown's going to put up some very good numbers. I think once we get into ACC play, you're going to see some steady play from him, as well as some pop, some flashes and all that as well. So I think Michael Brown, for me, is going to be the ACC Freshman of the Year this year.
I just counted. I think I counted 13, at least 13 that I wrote down, top 50 players, top 50 freshmen. And that doesn't include, like you said, Abdallas from Greece, who's going to be playing at Virginia Tech, would be, in that conversation as well. So very fun.
He was in our top 30. It was just the previous year.
Okay, yeah. So class. There you go. He would be very, very, very highly rated as well. So very exciting freshman class. Let's do coach of the year predictions. I got Pat Kelsey. I had Pat Kelsey even when I initially did my rankings and I had Duke 1. And then I, flipped them and I had Louisville 1. I think the jump you're going to see and what he's able to do with this team offensively and the pace they're going to play with, I think they're going to take a lot of headlines. I think they're going to be talked about a lot. And ultimately, they end the year as a top. I think they get I think they get a 2 seed in the NCAA tournament. Like I think they're of that caliber of team this year. And so, give me Louisville. Give me Pat Kelsey to make a lot of noise and to win Coach of the Year in the ACC.
Cosign, no notes.
Beautiful. And let's wrap it up with our Play of the Year predictions. Like I said, I have Cam Boozer here. I'm putting all my eggs in that basket because honestly, I just think he's that good. I mean, could it not work out? Could he, like, I don't know how low the floor is. We've just seen him be productive for so long at so many levels, like his size. I mean, you watch him. I watched him on the AU circuit. I think it was 2 summers ago, and you're just like, this is a different caliber of player. I know we'll talk about the Darren Petersons and AJ DeBonsta and everything like that. Boozer is a very, very exciting player because of his versatility and his skill set. But I do acknowledge, the media picked somebody else. There's a lot of other players in this conference that I think you can choose, but I'm going to stick with Boozer.
For me, I'm giving Louisville the clean sweep. Ryan Conwell is going to be my ACC Player of the Year.
Nice.
I just his ability to shoot. I think he's going to be a steadying factor with a whole bunch going on around him. You're going to have some defensive switches. You're going to have the bigs, Michael Brown, what he's got going. As the freshman of the year, I think Ryan Conwell is going to be a guy who can have the ball in his hand and make decisions. I think he can be a nice little secondary initiator. I think he can really score the ball. He's got savvy. He's approaching 1,400 career points in college. He shot 42% from three this past year, 2.5 assists per game as well. He's got 83 career starts. He's experienced. I think that he's got the skill set. He's going to have the system that Pat Kelsey runs. He's going to have the depth behind him and around him as well. I just think Ryan Conwell is going to be I just think I think there's a pathway for him to even elevate on the 16.5 points per game he had this past year to continue to go. The depth and the way that Pat Kelsey substitutes and everything will be interesting to see if he gets enough minutes to put up the stats and everything. But I think that Ryan Conwell is going to be the central figure of the best team in the league. A lot of times that puts the player of the year. I think he's going to have the numbers to support that. I think he's going to have the role to support that. And I think he's got the skill set, the experience, and all that stuff to step right in and get it done.
I'm already reading the comments of NC State fans saying, how dare you not pick Darian Williams as the player of the year. We love Darian Williams. Awesome player. Obviously at Texas Tech last year, we talked about him when we talked about NC State. Really, really central piece to what NC State's going to do offensively, especially. So it wouldn't surprise me at all if he put up really good numbers and won it this year.
I just think the ACC Freshman of the Year, I think that Player of the Year, there's going to be multiple guys. Yeah. I think there's going to be a handful of guys that are in that conversation. To be able to actually, win the possible award.
Yeah, for sure. But yes, he's in that mix as well. I have no problem with anybody picking him. So yeah, there's our ACC preview. I think this is a much better league this year. Now, I hesitate to say like they're going to get a ton of teams in the tournament, but I think they're going to get more than they got last year, and I think it's going to be a much more competitive conference this year. Whereas last year, it was Duke 19-1, Clemson 18-2, Louisville 18-2, and then it dropped all the way down to 13-7 for like a couple teams, and then you just got to like.
I think the bottom of the league is going to be better this year too. You got a little bit of new blood in there. As you said, there's an influx of talent when it comes to both foreign players as well as freshmen coming in as well. So I think the bottom of the league is going to be higher, more competitive, and the top of the league is going to be a little bit deeper.
Yeah, I mean, at the very least, Miami's got some dues now. They're not going to go 3-17 in conference. NC State, like we talked about, Will Wade, they went 5-15 last year. I think Syracuse has some players as well. So a much more interesting ACC this year, top to bottom. So I'm excited to see what it looks like. But that's all we got for y'all today. Hope y'all enjoyed the episode. Leave us a like, comment, share, subscribe if you have not already. We got more conference previews coming on the way, so check us out as the season is almost here, Jamie. We are approaching it.
It's that time, baby.
Yes, it is. All right. Thank y'all for joining us. We will talk to y'all later.
Appreciate you.